What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new and an interesting discussion topic. If you saw the thumbnail and are curious, then perfect. There are things in Warframe that Warframe players consider meta, but aren't meta because Warframe has specific metas, and people confuse popular items as meta items. So this video is more like an unveiling of the true nature of Warframe's actual meta, and where these items fit in and why people use them and what makes them meta. And this video isn't about dogging on things that people use, it's just here to shine a light on certain things that people usually overlook. It's more of an objective look at the game you're currently playing. I also spotted the word meta like 50 times. But what is meta? The term meta is actually short for metagame. The Greek prefix meta means beyond or transcending. So the metagame is literally the game beyond the game. In practical, normal people terms, meta is the most effective tactic available. It's the best way to play the game right now. It's the combination of characters, items, and strategies that high-level players have shown to be the most potent and efficient way to win. In short, it's an optimal strategy that the community has agreed upon. Let's say pro players in a hero shooter, for example, they usually use a combination of certain characters that are quite dominant in their games, and this does cause a ripple effect down to the lower ranks, affecting their choices. But of course, the lower ranks mostly don't understand why certain characters are meta and why those high-ranked players are using them. For example, I'm a Mantis player. She's a support that really dominates and synergizes with constant or burst damage DPS units, as not only does she heal, but can provide teammates with a damage boost. So whenever someone picks a Widow, it's usually advised you bring out a Mantis alongside that Widow to guarantee that Widow gets those one-shots. And in PvE games, and Warframe in this case, an item is meta because of its power, utility, or synergy with other things, which is simply superior to the alternatives for specific content. It's a choice made to maximize your chances of success. And of course, damage. Another thing is that metas are dynamic. The meta is constantly shifting. When a developer releases a patch, they might buff a weak item or nerf a dominant one. This immediately causes a shift as players scramble to figure out the most optimal strategy. The old powerful item is no longer meta, even if everyone still remembers how good it was. Maiming Strike. Oh my god, what was that? But again, that isn't the case for Saren, because she got nerfed 17 times and is still quite dominant. Yeah, just think about that. For example, in most game modes, you want to kill fast, with as little downtime or setup as possible. A one-button build that clears, just like any ARPG, without letting animations shine or ignoring the vision. Melee Influence, for example. It's a melee arcane that is currently the most dominant and has become a staple in melee modding because it allows you to clear fast in a massive 20-meter AoE with little effort. It is literally the meta of melee modding nowadays. It works on literally any melee provided you can supply the melee with electric damage and proc the electricity through the melee. Before the Slam Radius nerf, the Magistar Incarnate was meta for slam builds, as it had perks to take your slams and crits to higher levels. In the amp department, currently the Certus Brace is the only brace you should be using with all your combinations when you want damage. And if you want the two best and meta amps right now, it's the 177 and the 547. The 177 is used for dead content. Sorry, I meant Eidolons. Yeah. Nobody's doing them, hence the dead content. And the general amp, and also insanely strong for Cascade, you have the 547. And even within those amps, you need to pair it with a focus school that is specifically made to boost amp and overall damage. And that's why Matarai is meta for those two game modes, and versatile that it just fits in a majority of builds. So when people come over to the stream and ask, what's the new meta for Warframe? My response is, meta for what exactly? Because it depends what you're doing. So you have to be Pacific like the ocean when you ask these questions. So now, let's talk about popularity and popular items. How are these items different from meta items? Popularity, on the other hand, is a much simpler concept. It's driven by how many people are using something, and that use is rooted in a variety of factors other than just raw power. And the most common factors are ease of use and accessibility. A simple, reliable item that is easy for any player to pick up, master, will often be very popular, even if it's not powerful at the top tier of play. An item that is cheap, easy to acquire, or default starting choice choice will naturally be popular. Hence why Revenant is currently the most popular and most used Warframe, because press one button and you're immortal, and you can play him however you want. Wukong was quite popular because of how easy it was to get him, and he provided a full-on AFK gameplay with his clone and other funny and sussy things till DE nerfed the clone. And in this case, we have the Turret Incarnate. It's a chase item that does well in single target and ad clear. Yet, why is this item not considered meta? Because remember what I said earlier about downtime. Its biggest strength and drawback, funny enough, is that it's an Incarnate weapon. It will do well in Steel Path, provided you can constantly keep charging the Incarnate mode, but suffers in lower levels because you won't get to charge your Incarnate mode. Because with a single shot, you just nuke everything in low levels. And when you do eventually charge your Incarnate, you will deplete it so fast because the turret in its incarnate form is a beam weapon, and you need to prioritize high fire rate on beams if you want your damage to ramp up fast. Compare someone using a turret versus someone using frames built for fast clears. That person with a turret ain't gonna be doing anything. For example, a quick, fast, low-level Fisher mission, a Thermal Sunder Titania still dominates because she flies, she's fast, and has that AoE nuking thanks to Thermal Sunder. Someone with a dual augment nuke Sevagoth will not give room to anyone else. But then if you take that to a low-level mission, the Thermal Sunder Titania will still out-clear the Sevagoth because she's just faster. And any frame with energized munitions or even a Sight 09 paired with an AoE weapon will be a more optimal choice than a turret. In short, a popular item is the one you see everywhere, but its popularity doesn't necessarily mean it's the best choice. But hey, here's where it gets interesting. Meta items are almost always popular items. Yeah. When the community discovers the meta, everyone who wants to compete will start using them, making those items instantly popular. However, the reverse is not true. A popular item is not always a meta item. You can also refer to my perfectly made Excel sheet here. I haven't used this thing in ages, so tell me how it looks. Just to end things off with a more TLDW in this case, the item is usually some weapon or frame that some content creator or a group of dedicated theory crafters run the numbers and realize, hey, this item, when combined with this specific frame build, now has the highest DPS and clear speed in the game. And suddenly, what? This new item is now meta. Everyone at the top starts building around it, and suddenly the item usage goes through the roof. It is now both meta and popular. The popular item is just the old reliable, easy to use item that is accessible. This is popular, but not meta. It's a favorite, but it won't give you the competitive edge. I mean, against a dogshit item, sure, obviously. So the next time you hear someone talking about the meta, remember, they're talking about the science of winning, the deepest level of strategic optimization. Oh yeah. Anyway, that has been it for me. I do hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do it for the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, a peace. Bye-bye now.